they look like that sort of team. They actually look like they could be a Super Bowl caliber team. And I've said that for a couple of teams. The New England Patriots, Pittsburgh Steelers, of course. I'm definitely saying that about the Minnesota Vikings. But those three teams definitely have good chances of going to the Super Bowl this year.
The Falcons defeat the Broncos 23-16 to bring the Broncos to their first loss of the season. Trevor Siemian was out, so rookie Paxton Lynch gets his first game as a starter. A little shaky, as expected, against a really good Atlanta team. They were suspect defensively, but they answered their questions on Sunday, sacking the quarterback from Memphis 6 times, which, again, is impressive considering the fact that they only had 6 sacks all season leading up to that point. Devontae Freeman, 88 yards and a score, and Tevin Coleman, I have him on my fantasy roster, and you should too, 4 receptions for 132 yards and a touchdown, along with what he did on the ground combined with Freeman. Are you more impressed with the Falcons, Tom, or are you starting to get a little concerned with the Broncos that if they don't figure out their quarterback situation, they may be in trouble?
Good question. I think I'm more impressed with the Atlanta Falcons, especially because I think last year they went 4-12. The fact that they actually won 4 games already is a huge turnaround, especially in the NFC South. A couple of years ago, the NFC South was one of the worst divisions where none of the teams were above 500, but still one of them had to get out of the NFC South and make the playoffs. I believe that was the Carolina Panthers that did that. I find it just unbelievable what Julio Jones and Matt Ryan have done in the past 2 games so far. But looking at the points against in the standings, they've allowed 140 points. Looking at the other standings, the top, first place in each division is pretty much double digits. Seattle Seahawks, 54 points against. Minnesota Vikings, 63 points against. Dallas Cowboys, only 91 points against. So in the NFC, it seems like defense is the leading way. But when it comes to the Atlanta Falcons, they are outscoring their opponents enough to actually win games, especially on the road. On the road, they are 3-0. At home, they're 1-1, which is, okay. They haven't had that many home games, but still, them being the underdogs, going to a home team and beating them, that's impressive to me right now.
Yeah, I mean, look, the Falcons started off 5-0 last season before tailing off and finishing 8-8, not making the playoffs. So starting off 4-1 isn't, again, good start for the Falcons, but it's about closing late, I think, for the Falcons that they really are focused on. And you can clearly see that Matt Ryan has clicked on all cylinders. I think he's throwing less interceptions, he's making less mistakes, and giving the ball to the right player, whether it be Julio Jones on the outside or handing the ball to Freeman or even giving it out to Coleman out wide. It looks pretty impressive, and so far the Falcons look pretty good on all cylinders. For the Cowboys, 28-14 final over the Bengals. Pretty good win for them as the Cowboys move up to 4-1 on the season. Ezekiel Elliott, 134 yards, 2 scores on the game. Dak Prescott, again, he just does enough for the Cowboys to be successful, and 4-1 is a good start for them. Jerry Jones said that Tony Romo is still the number 1 quarterback when he's healthy. Should the Cowboys stick with Dak Prescott, or should they move to Romo when he's healthy?
For me, if I was the coach, I would stick with the hot hand. You would stick with Dak Prescott, who is showing that he is good in the pocket as well as being good on his feet, moving around and making sure that he doesn't get sacked. He's making efficient passes, and he's also looking to give it to Ezekiel Elliott, who's pretty much handling the ground and pound feet. The O-line is doing amazing. They are making big holes for Elliott. If you did not see a 60-yard run in the first play of their one drive, it was excellent. The hole was open about 3 feet wide. Both safety and free safety couldn't get to Ezekiel Elliott as he went up the gut and pretty much ran dead straight down to the goal line. this Dallas Cowboys team is threatening to be one of the best NFC teams looking to go into the playoffs, especially in the NFC East. It's looking like Dak Prescott should be the quarterback for the Cowboys, but Jerry Jones is very faithful for Tony Romo, who's been his quarterback forever. But my feeling is the way that he has handled his injuries and the way that he has been getting injuries, it might not last long enough for Tony Romo. So what Jerry Jones needs to realize is that Tony Romo did well for him in the past, finally won a playoff game, but I don't see him going to the Super Bowl at all. He needs to jump on the Dak Prescott wagon, and he needs to ride that wagon to the playoffs and hopefully to the Super Bowl.
Yeah, I mean, look, I would always go with the hot hand. I just think no matter how good the quarterback is, this team's 4-1, which is off to a great start and a lot better than people expected when coming in with a rookie running back and rookie quarterback. A lot of it does have to do with the offensive line, of course. But a lot of it also has to do with Dak Prescott simply not making the mistakes that Tony Romo does. Granted, I know he's a rookie, and I know he's going to make his mistakes at some point, but so far, he hasn't shown the rookie, I guess the big rookie mistake that's allowed the Cowboys to lose a game. Carson Wentz had a big throw against the Detroit Lions that cost him the game. Granted, he has a big arm, and I get it. But for Dak Prescott, he also does have a big arm, but he simply just has not made the mistake of costing the Cowboys the game and just keeping them going. And on top of that, they have a pretty good defense, and their front line has been pretty good, and they were good on Sunday getting to Andy Dalton there. Raiders 34-31, the final. Raiders move up to 4-1, first time since 2002, and that was the year that they went to the Super Bowl. Raiders look pretty good right now, and if the season ended right now, the Raiders would be the number 1 seed in the AFC due to tiebreakers and whatnot. But again, it's only 5 games. How good do the Raiders look, Tom?
I'm in a pro pick'em league with my dad and my grandfather, along with a couple of people, friends that they know, 21 players in all. But every time I see an Oakland matchup, I pick them. I see Derek Carr and Amari Cooper hooking up for large gains. I see Mack Truck on defense, who went from linebacker to the defensive tackle or a defensive lineman, just doing work on defense. The Oakland Raiders are looking like the 2002 possible Super Bowl champions to actually go and be an awesome team rather than a bag over your head saying, "Oh, I'm a Raiders fan, but I don't want you to see my face" sort of team. This Oakland team is one of the best that I've seen in a while. They've been growing, especially right behind Derek Carr. So I like this team. I really do. I might actually jump on the bandwagon there.
Yeah, I mean, look, I picked the Raiders to make the playoffs as to win the division, actually, out of the AFC West, just because I like what I see from the quarterback position to Derek Carr. He's really stepping into his own. Amari Cooper becoming one of the elite receivers in the league, and you saw that going for 138 yards and a score on Sunday. And like you said, Mack is probably one of the premier defensive players in the league, an up-and-coming star, no question. He can play linebacker. He can be on the defensive line. Wherever you put him, he's going to be effective for that defense, and he is the leader of that defense only a couple seasons into his NFL career. And so I'm liking what Jack Del Rio is building out there. He has that toughness. He has that LA grind and that Oakland edge that they've needed for a couple years in a good way. And so you can clearly see what it's paying off dividends as they go to 4-1. And they have pretty big games moving forward. Now the Packers, you're Tom, defeat the Giants 23-16. Pretty good win there. Packers moved to 3-1. Rodgers did throw a couple interceptions. It's shocking at home, but Packers still look pretty good. Giants a lot of problems on defense. Now moving to the Monday night game, the Buccaneers defeat the Panthers 17-14. Jameis Winston did okay. Derek Anderson, as coming in as a backup, you don't expect a lot, but considering how many weapons they had on offense, you think he'd do better and not throw as many interceptions as he did. Panthers now 1-4. This Super Bowl hangover is real, isn't it, Tom?
It really is. When it comes to the Super Bowl hangover, it's a huge grind because you know that you are the best team. You should be the best team still, especially in the offseason, even if some people might have left. But you can't really think of it that way. You need to think that this is a new season. There are better players who just came up from the draft that are helping other teams. You need to be the best every single day. It seems like some players on the Broncos just let that go. Seems like that on the Carolina Panthers as well. Josh Norman leaving the Carolina Panthers apparently took a huge hit on their defense. So what you got to look at is that the Super Bowl hangover is a huge thing that you need to take countermeasures to try and prevent. If you don't, you're screwed. Just plain and simple.
Yeah, I mean, look, 1-4, not a good start for the Panthers. I'm going to say they're not making the playoffs at this point. I mean, it might be a lost season if they lose maybe one or two more for sure. But it's a hard hill to climb back of, even considering the fact that now they're behind the Buccaneers, and now they're even more behind the Falcons, who moved to 4-1 after defeating the Broncos. Speaking of which, we're going to go to Pick'em here and the Thursday night game, so we're just going to go down the line here. Broncos, Chargers, who you got? I got Broncos.
This is a hard game.
Simeon's looking to start, by the way, so I don't know if that influences anything.
That does a little bit, then I will go Denver. If Simeon does not start, I'm going Chargers.
Okay. Sunday's games start off with the 49ers and Bills. I don't pick this game, but I expect a good game from Kaepernick.
I expect a better game from Tyrod Taylor. I'm going Bills over San Francisco.
Eagles, Redskins. It's Eagles' first loss of the season going to Maryland. Should be interesting. I'm picking the Eagles on the road.
Eagles do need to come back from their loss. Kirk Cousins had a good game, not great. Wentz is a person who should know, even though he's a rookie, should know his mistakes, learn from them. I'm definitely going Philadelphia as well.
Of the cheapest NFL tickets you can get right now for $55, you can check out the Browns and Titans. Titans at home, picking them huge.
This might be the one game where I might actually choose Cleveland over Tennessee, but I don't even know which quarterback they're going to use for Cleveland. So
they just signed rookie quarterback Kevin Hogan out of Stanford, so that goes to show you who might be starting.
Okay, well then, I'm going to go with Tennessee then.
There you go. Fair enough. Ravens going to New York, or East Rutherford anyway, to take on the Giants. I'm picking the Giants in this one. I'm not really liking the Ravens right now. Good start to the season, but lately they just have not clicked it on offense.
Well, that's the thing. The Ravens, after the half, they make their counter measurements so that they can actually get back into the lead and win. If they are in the lead when going to the halftime, they lose. So it's going to come down to the halftime just remeasurements. So I am going to go with the New York Giants.
Okay. Division matchup, Panthers-Ravens. Both have one win. Who goes to 2? I'm picking the Saints at home.
Say Panthers. Okay. Panthers-Saints, yes. I'm going to go Saints at home as well.
Jaguars-Bears. A lot of really terrible games this week. It's not good. It's in Chicago. But, you know what? I'm picking the Bears. I like Brian Hoyer just a little bit.
You like Brian Hoyer. I like Blake Bortles better, especially with Hearns. I'm going Jacksonville.
Actually, the cheaper game that you can go to if you want to pick an NFL game starting at $30 is the Rams and Lions. So I don't know why those tickets are so cheap, but picking the Rams. Tough loss at home. Pick them to go on the road. They're 2-1 on the road anyway.
And I'm going to have to go the other side. Detroit. They beat... Detroit beat who last week?
Philadelphia.
Thank you.
It's okay.
Detroit beat Philadelphia, which is a huge win for them, especially since that Philadelphia was undefeated. So Stafford, who lost his helmet, almost got concussion last week, is definitely feeling the burn. So I'm actually going to go with Detroit on this one.
Steelers go to Miami to take on the Dolphins. Even on the road,